Hey, what's up, guys? It's MugenLord here, and today we're going to talk about Palworld once again. Because, as I said before, Palworld had pretty much just struck the internet just like crazy, and it had a lot of journalists, a lot of game developers also weighing in on the situation, and of course, you had the debate within the community when it comes to whether or not they were plagiarizing Nintendo's Pokemon. And a lot of people were asking Nintendo, can something be done about it? Can you sue these guys? Or all kinds of things that was going on, and it was just interesting to see how a game that was made by such a small team had just shocked the world and made so much money, and people played this game, embraced it, the community came together and just shared their love and joy for gaming. This was like a testament to show that as long as the game is fun to play, it doesn't matter how the game looked, what inspirations it took from other games, as long as it's fun. And the thing that I've said was, the more interesting thing that I'm interested about Palworld is, once the honeymoon period is over, will this game sustain itself, and what's going to happen to the player base moving forward? Well, it looks like we have, I won't say an answer, but we have an idea of what's going on, because it lost quite a good percentage of its player base. Not drastically, because people are still playing it, but now you have journalists and many people who were against Palworld celebrating against it, and you have journalists talking about it as well. And the developers themselves are saying that, yo, this is really not a big deal. And I love their take and their understanding that they also expected this to happen, but they know that players will come back as they start to push out more content. So as we go through the article, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. So we're going to dive right into it right now. So on IGN, they had posted the article, and this is coming from the developers of Palworld, Pocket Pair. They were saying that Palworld has lost X percentage of its player base. Discourse is lazy, Dev says. New content will come, and it's going to be awesome, but these things take a little bit of time. So it says the developer of Palworld has commented on a debate around a declining number of people playing the game since launch, calling the discourse lazy. And I definitely agree with that. Taken to Twitter, Pocket Pair community manager Bucky, who has become the voice of Palworld's development team in the West, reflected on the game's first month since going on sale in early access from across PC and Xbox Series X and S. I quote, "In May of 2023, I was convinced that Palworld could break the 50,000 player mark," Bucky said. "Anything above that seemed unattainable though, and I certainly never expected to reach into the millions. It has taken years to get to this point, and Palworld only really begins from here. Everyone is working hard to fix the issues and prepare new content in piles. Some of you may have had your fun over the last 3 weeks and found yourself putting the game down, and that's fine." And this is what I want to talk about. First, I want to address the first quote, that they were only expecting 50,000 players. That was their benchmark. 50,000 players is what they were really expecting for this game. For them to get millions of players, that was something they never thought. So them losing players doesn't really bother them, because they only expected 50,000 players. So they're still sitting good despite what people or how some people feel about them losing players. Now, the other quote that I wanted to address is that, you know, people had their fun with the game, and now people put the game down. And what I love about it is saying that's perfectly fine. And that is perfectly fine. You get your enjoyment out of it, and you move on to something else, and you may return later when something new comes. And this reminds me of the base take that Yoshi P and his team with Final Fantasy XIV. When Final Fantasy XIV was experiencing a boom, when players was leaving World of Warcraft and started just coming over to Final Fantasy XIV, he also stated the same thing, that the way to develop this system and how Final Fantasy XIV is supposed to be played, they said it in a sense to where, yes, he even encouraged people to leave the game and come back when they're ready. There's nothing wrong with that. You will experience burnout, you know, and I love that take. Developers, these developers realize that and know that, and they're even saying that we're understanding of that, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Take your break, and we hope that you do come back and pick it up once again, especially when we have the content that you're looking for. And I like that take, and I think a lot of developers should have that take as well. But we're going to continue. It says Palworld's astonishing launch saw 12 million sales on Steam alone and peaked concurrent player count of 2 million players, the second highest of all time on Valve's platform. Over on Xbox, Palworld is the biggest third-party launch on Game Pass ever, with over 7 million players and a daily player peak of just shy of 3 million, while the concurrent player count on Steam has fallen steadily since the peak. It's worth pointing out, Palworld is currently the third most played game on Steam behind the Counter-Strike 2 and Dota 2. It remains hugely popular. So despite the player count falling a bit, it's still ranked third place. So I don't think that there's a problem that's going on. I don't think people's losing interest in it, but people played the hell out of it for 3 weeks. What do you expect is going to happen? People's going to play it until they can't play it no more. Already got a sense of fulfillment from it until they get something more or wait for the new content to come. So they're still standing pretty for them being ranked 3 on the Steam charts. Still standing pretty despite the count had fell off just a bit. Still, that hasn't stopped some from proclaiming that Palworld Party is over, and this sentiment that Pocket Pair appears to keen to counter. This emerging Palworld has lost X of its player-based discourse is lazy, but it's probably also a good time to step in and reassure those of you capable of reading past headlines that it's fine to take breaks from games. And yes, it's important to get into the headlines, because like I said, journalism, the key thing in journalism is those clickbait titles in the headlines that get a lot of people talking. And we got into this day and age to where people, they don't like to read. A lot of people like the information fed to them, and a lot of people will go to a title, look at the title, and only read the title and then just make assumptions and don't even click on the article itself to actually get the full detail and the context of what's actually being said. The title's just to bring you in, just to lure you in to click, but now people's not even clicking. People just seeing the title and then writing a response, or they write something off. And this is the thing that I really find I do get frustrated with, even with my content, when I create a certain title. And I have people that will come into the comment section, don't even look at the video. They just see the title and the thumbnail and then give their opinion based on the thumbnail and the title, and never bother to watch the full video to actually get the context itself and to realize that, oh, okay, now I understand what this person with MugenLord is saying or whatever. And this is the type of generation that we in when it comes to social media and journalism. So they want to get ahead of this entire situation to let people know this is lazy as far as the title's concerned, of them losing a player base when they're still sitting at rank number 3 on the Steam charts and people are still enjoying the game. So that's what I also just want to put out there. You don't need to feel bad about that. Palworld, like many games before it, isn't in a position to pump out massive amounts of new content on a weekly basis. New content will come and it's going to be awesome, but these things take a little bit of time. Yes, it takes a little bit of time. This is a small development team as well. But I also remember in a day and age when I grew up, especially playing games in the 90s and stuff like that, you know, we enjoyed that one particular game. We weren't getting patches, we weren't getting updates. We would just run that game until we don't play it anymore, or we push it to the side and come back and revisit it later. But we live in a day and age where it's crazy how you can play a game for 3 weeks and then you expect more content right after the game just released 3 weeks ago. Now people are expecting so much more content. But a game like Palworld with a small development team, this stuff takes time to come out. And if the game is that fun and it's engaging, I think the wait is worth it. I'd rather people wait for them to release everything all in one big chunk than to them to try to release something every week to make the player base feel like the game is still has some life to it. And I think we need to get back to that time where we just say, hey, enjoy the game that we have, you know, and then just let the developers cook. In this case, Pocket Pair, let them cook, let them make the content that they need, and they also has a nice world, I guess you say roadmap of what you can expect in the future for Palworld. So I think that's the best way to approach, and they're okay with people leaving because they know people want to come back. So he said there are so many games out there to play. You don't need to feel guilty about hopping from game to game. Yes, that's what gaming is about. There's always gonna be a bunch of different games that you can just hop in, jump in, put it down, come back, and everything like that. And they understand it. And I love a company that talks like this. This is what you need more companies to do. And because now we have developers, they're more concerned is how to keep you to play the game. So that's why you're starting to have a lot of these lazy roadmaps, these battle passes, just to keep nickel and diming you with content to keep you in the game. But no, if you put the game out the way it is, full with content out the gate, people are going to come back and because they love it that much, you know. So that's the case with this. But yes, Pocket Pair, they sound like they're very confident in what they have as far as their product is concerned, and I'm definitely looking forward, and I will be keeping tabs on this. I have yet to actually jump into the game. My brothers and them playing it currently or whatever, but I'm just sitting back waiting. I'm waiting for the content to pile up, and then I'll just jump into it at one time, similar to what I did with Final Fantasy 14 and many games that's like this, that is constantly growing. I just like to jump in when the content is full. And I can just constantly play without stopping and everything. But I think this is like a perfect thing to analyze as far as gaming today is concerned, because we have games like Palworld, we have games like Stellar Blade, and now we have Helldivers, which I'm about to purchase in a second, because you can probably hear my brothers in the background yelling and screaming because they're playing Helldivers 2 right now. But these are games that's pretty much showing you that there's about to be a shift in gaming at this point. You know, we've seen a lot of the nonsense that's going on in the West, and we seen a lot of the censorship. We see a lot of problems with gaming, especially AAA gaming, and we're starting to get simple games like Helldiver, $40, but it's packed full of content and people was loving it. We see Palworld, a small development team that just took what they had and then took the assets and put together to make a fun game. And then you have Stellar Blade on the other aspect of bringing back beautiful, attractive characters, female characters on top of that, where it used to be back in the early 90s and 2000s, you know. So maybe this is maybe this is it. Maybe this is where we start to see a shift, and we just want to just cross our fingers and hope for the best. But this pretty much wraps up this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, the notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you game fiends later. Peace out.